I had a question. As a content creator, what is the thing that you're most afraid of? What simple fear is holding you back? And I don't want to belittle your fears, but I just have a question. As a content creator, we all got struggles and we all got fears. But what if you made a decision and paid attention to exactly what it is that you're afraid of? Now, sometimes we mix things up and we got various names for these things and we come up with all kind of reasons why. We say gear sometimes, we say time sometimes, we say, straight up imposter syndrome, right? But what if instead of fighting what it is that you're afraid of, you leaned into what it is you're afraid of? So what do I mean by that? What if you use that as a foundation for your content? And here's why. Somebody who's watching what you're creating will resonate with that exact thing because they now realize that they have a similar problem. And this is way more bright to me now than ever before. Talk about something that resonates with you. Excuse me while I hydrate. As content creators or people in general, we have a self-referencing mechanism. Oftentimes when, someone like myself or somebody's making a video and the person will say something and it kind of hits you and you're like, wait, I represent that remark. That self-referencing system is very much human. It's a part of what makes us human. It's a part of how we learn from watching and be like, I kind of do that, but if I added that, I can get a better success. And so what if you're paying attention to when those moments hit you and immediately connect with why that moment connected with you? What was the thing that made that resonate with you? And what if you took that, wrote that down, and then connected it with your content? I, for the longest time, was afraid to go get my ADHD checked out. My coping mechanisms were starting to not work anymore. And so I went to go check it out recently, and I realized that, yeah, I probably should have did this a long time ago. And some of the things that are probably hurting my creativity, my content creation, is very much to do with my ADHD. But now that I know that, I can develop new plans, new systems, new skills to work with it until I figure out how to make it best work for me. So instead of running away from the problem, lean into it and come up with a better solution. So for instance, last week I came out and told everybody that, I've been properly diagnosed with ADHD. And the level of self-referencing that happened on that video meant that that piece of content, that one piece of content resonated with so many of you because you're in the same boat. Some having already been diagnosed and some who have, like me, have been putting off the diagnosis. And so now that I know that, I can use this diagnosis, this thing that I have, as a scaffolding to build content around, as a scaffolding to help resonate with other creators who may, like myself, struggle with ADHD as an older age. Most of the people that talk about this are younger. Most of the people that talk about this are millennials or, Gen Zers. And a lot of us Gen Xers, we either aren't diagnosed or we got diagnosed late. And a lot of the things, the mechanisms in that are available, they're going to be the same because brain is a brain. However, when the person is giving you those tips, you might think, well, I'm too old for that. And that's going to go out the window. So now, as I develop new systems to deal with this and how to work with this, as I go through my therapy journey and my medication journey and coming up with new systems, new plans, new directions, I can make content around that and it will resonate with the rest of us old gits who figured out that we have this ADHD. So again, what if you leaned into whatever it is that you are afraid of, whatever you think that you're lacking, whatever skill you think you're missing, what if you leaned into that and use that as a basis of your content? So today, my buddy Dave said, I want to learn more about storytelling. I want to get better at storytelling. And I'm like, dope. I think every content creator needs to get better at storytelling. But what makes you think you aren't good at it? Because as a dad with kids, he's been doing this his whole life. He may not, well, since his kids are born. So I'm like, why don't you make some content where you're making it as advice for the kids? Or, I told another creator, what if you make content that's giving advice to your nieces or nephews? Because every piece of video that you make that is like, Auntie's advice for your nephews, somebody else needs to hear that and they will connect with that as well. That self-referencing thing will happen. So what if you take the stuff that you self-reference with and turn that into content that could resonate with your people? See, we as humans, especially in creative space, because we're going to share what we're talking about out to the people, we all have a negativity bias. My negativity biases were getting older, gray beard, bald, fat, bespectacled, have an occasional flub of words because my brain is faster than my lips, occasionally get the dry mouth, and in my videos all the time. I think of all these things. There's a negativity biases, but the reality is when your content is good, people ain't paying attention to that. The people that are paying attention to that are not your people. They're not your potential clients, your potential customers, your potential student, your potential followers. They are too busy paying attention to the minor instead of paying attention to the major, which was the value that you're delivering. I say again, what if you leaned into the thing that you're most afraid of? What if you leaned into this thing or the skill that you feel that you don't have and use that as a basis for your creation? So yeah, unfortunately, like it or not, I will definitely be talking more and more about my journey with mental health and my ADHD. Now that I know this is a problem, I can use this problem to my advantage and make systems and solutions to make sure that they work. That's how I process things. I process and deal with my shortcomings by sharing them because I know that somebody else needs to hear this. Even though I say that line at the end, I pretty much always know who in my community I'm talking to when I make the video. But let's leave it with this. Let's lean into it, but not give into it. Okay? I've been fighting you guys to get rid of this imposter syndrome word forever. And maybe the way that I've been approaching making you get rid of it is never going to work. So how about we understand that it's normal? The higher you strive, the higher you achieve, the more you ask yourself, why am I up here? When I'm standing in the doorway of an airplane, I'm like, why am I going to jump out of this again? That happens. When you climb up to a bridge and you're standing over the edge and you're looking down, it's like, oh, it's going to be some great photos. When you get up there, you're like, why did I come up here? This is normal. This is super, super normal. That level of insecurity, which imposter syndrome is what people are referencing as imposter syndrome. So maybe instead of fighting you to just get rid of it, how about just lean into it and explain that you have it, but don't let it control you. So whatever that fear is, you can lean into it. I used to say, never admit that you're nervous when you go on stage. Be like, gang, I'm a little nervous, but what I have to tell you is so important. I'm going to do my best to fight through this nervousness to make sure that you get this message. Gang, I'm totally afraid to be on camera. This is not like me, but the value that I need to share with you is so important. I'm going to put my fears of being on camera aside and I'm going to come in. And before I get started, anybody who's also afraid of talking on camera, let me know in the comment section below. Like, lean into that joint, right? And I'm going to, you know me, I always got to add a hip hop reference. Let me do this one real quick and there it goes. Biggie and Tip and Method Man all leaned into what would have been classified as speech impediments. Think about that. Some of the best MCs in the planet have either a rotund or like a cleft in their speaking. I don't know what the proper vocal terms is for it, but they all have kind of a lisp. Yet that's what made their voices so recognizable that when you hear it, you can't help but hear it. I want you to think about that real quick. People would have teased Antonio Banderas for his accent in high school. But when he gets to making movies, and all the ladies was like, who laughing now? You see what I'm saying? What if you lean into the thing that you're most afraid of and make it work with you? Because sometimes the only way around the problem is through it. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but if it was you, let me know in the comment section below. And if nothing else, fess up and tell me what it is that you're most afraid of, and maybe we can work on that together. If you like this video, press the like button, press the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. And right about now, the algorithm is going to share another video they think you should watch. And I agree with them.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George. I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse. I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in talk.